November 22nd, 2021. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 245 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Mike, I've got a question for
Yes,
you. Now, you're
sure.
sort of a big shot at Harrah's, Southern California.
Yeah, I don't know about big shot.
Well, okay, but I mean, when everybody's glad to see you.
Yes.
The staff loves you. You're great with tips. You throw around a certain amount of money there. So you're not a whale, but you know, when you come in, they see you, oh, Mike, you want us to hold a seat for you here?
Right.
And I kind of ride on your coattails.
A little bit,
Right.
but they like you
And
too.
I, that's been kind of the case during our whole gambling lives together. We'd go to Vegas, you'd get, like the room and everything, and, I'd benefit from your comps. So having said that,
Yes.
It seems like you agree with me there. Why is it that the hosts at Harrah's, Southern California seem way more interested in talking to me than to you?
Yes. That's a very good question. You get approached all the time. Oh, Mark. Could it be that you're louder than me?
Well, I'm definitely louder. Yeah, that could be it. Even, last night, I'm looking for Mark. It's a new host. So often,
Right.
it's just a different host.
Right.
I'm looking for Mark. We're both at the table.
Right.
We've both given him our cards.
Right.
But hi, I'm looking for Mark. Oh, I'm right here.
Yeah.
You're just standing next to me.
My host walks by like in the distance and kind of like waves from
Yeah,
afar.
kind of waves like, oh, I see you, Mike. I've got things to do.
Right. I'm busy.
All right. So you can't figure it out. You have certainly can't figure it out.
I don't know. You just have that magnetism, I guess, Mark.
I guess.
Yeah, they're all women too.
It usually
For you.
is. Yeah.
So maybe it's just a woman
That
thing,
could be. Yeah, it's probably a woman.
I want to talk to that guy wearing the I Dream of Jeannie shirt over there at the craps table.
You figured it out, my friend. Mystery solved.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, you had a chance to go up to SoFi Stadium to see a game here.
Last week.
How'd that go?
My brother-in-law got some tickets from a guy he works with. So me and my wife and my brother-in-law went with 5 other people that this guy has 8 tickets. And we went up to see the game against the Vikings.
Chargers versus Vikings.
Vikings. Yeah, the stadium's great.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I'll tell you, there's some good and bad things about it.
Okay, yeah. Let's hear it.
It was super organized getting in the parking lot.
Okay.
I mean, very organized, whereas they led you to a spot. You don't just randomly choose spots.
Oh, okay. So people are directing you and just filter you into.
Filtering
Okay.
you in, so you get in quick,
Yeah.
and there's no fighting over. I'm trying to hold 5 spots. You can't. They
Yeah,
just
okay.
they just line people up.
Uh-huh. Can you tailgate?
Yes, there's tailgating area specifically for tailgating.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
And then there's an area closer to the stadium was just for parking.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of nice because if you don't want to tailgate, now the way the world is now, there's nobody collecting money for parking. So you have to buy parking in advance.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you don't go through like a gate where you pay.
No,
you have to get it in advance. Okay,
You have to get it in
I guess
advance, and there's somebody when you pull in that scans your phone or whatever.
Okay, well that
so
sounds
you're parking.
okay.
Yeah,
good.
and bad in that respect. I wonder what happens when somebody doesn't have parking and just shows up.
Yeah, they probably can't park, right? They got to find something
right,
alternative. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Getting out though after the game was a nightmare.
Really?
It took over an hour for us to get out.
Oh, gosh.
Actually get out of the parking lot onto the street.
Geez.
And then the street was jam-packed too.
Yeah.
So it was quite a nightmare getting out.
Okay.
It's just, volume of people. And then that was like a free-for-all. There's nobody really
There's no
guiding anything. It's
yeah.
just like a free-for-all.
Yeah.
It's just a mess. So those were the good and bad about parking. The stadium itself is beautiful.
Yeah.
If you have any kind of noise or lighting issues,
Like you're sensitive to loud noise or bright lights or
bright
something?
lights or flashing lights, that's not the place for you.
Okay.
It's a dome, so it's covered, mostly covered. It's open on the ends.
Okay.
But it's very loud.
Yeah.
And the scoreboard is round.
Yeah, I've seen it's like a big oval.
A big oval that goes around the hole. So no matter where you are, you get to see the big scoreboard.
Yeah.
There's nobody like where it's behind them or something.
Right.
So that's nice, but that thing's always flashing and lights, and then there's lights all around where the seats are.
Okay, so it's kind of bombarding your senses.
It's bombarding your senses, yeah. And if you're sensitive to that, you could have a problem. My wife at the end was getting a headache because there was so much lighting.
Yeah.
So you just have to be aware of that. The other thing was they had this announcer. And all the stadiums I've ever been to, it's, just some guy, you don't see his face.
Yeah.
He just says, pass complete to number 83.
Yeah, it's just the PA announcer.
Yeah, the PA announcer, right? Well, there it's a younger guy. So you actually see him on the scoreboard talking.
Oh.
A lot. And he was kind of goofy. I don't know how to word this properly, but he was just kind of goofy, like a cheerleader.
Oh,
so it wasn't
he
like
was pro Chargers, obviously.
Way pro Chargers.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And it wasn't like, it's third and whatever. It was like, oh boy, first down. And he's going crazy and stuff.
Yeah.
And at first I'm like, oh, okay, that's different. Towards the end of the game, it's a little annoying,
Yeah. Okay.
And I asked some other people around us, that's one thing, I wished it was a little more toned down.
Yeah.
More like a party atmosphere than a football
Yeah, I
game.
think that's kind of the trend now in the sporting event. Sure. Okay.
So more like otherwise, it was great. The seats we had were great. It's very nice.
Yeah, good.
It was a little rough for me physically to walk from the parking into the stadium.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah.
But I think for most people, it wouldn't be
Okay.
too big a deal.
Yeah. What was the ratio of Chargers to Vikings fans?
Yeah, at that game, I'd say it was 90% Chargers.
Really? Because it didn't seem that way on TV.
Oh, really?
I mean, and you know, they can kind of pick and choose on television what they want to show.
No, I think it was mostly Chargers. I mean, maybe 80. Maybe it was 80-20.
All right.
But it wasn't worse than 80.
Okay.
That's for sure.
It wasn't like what they've had, you know, like the last few years where it seems like an away game.
No,
right?
well, and also it was the Vikings.
Yeah, which is not really a rivalry.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if it certainly had been Kansas City, I'm sure it would have been.
Well, or the Raiders.
I'm
sure it would have been like 90-10 Raiders.
No, my brother-in-law was at the Raider game, and he said it was, like 85% Raider fans.
Well, that makes sense. Los Angeles, sure.
Los Angeles. Yeah. But yeah, it was good.
Okay.
It was good.
All right.
I liked the stadium a lot. I don't know that you and I agree on this. It's so much nicer to sit at home.
Well, you know, now that I know you're still kind of a Chargers fan, but now that I don't have a team, I love just relaxing on Sunday,
watching all
Red
the
Zone
games. Channel,
whatever I want to watch. You know, I've got my own bathroom. I can get snacks whenever. You know, I don't have to deal with crowds.
Oh, that was an interesting thing. The lines were not long.
Oh, that's good.
We went and got some food and stuff, and no, the lines were really quick.
Okay.
The bathrooms were a nightmare.
Really?
They one entrance. The same entrance exit.
Oh, okay.
You know how most stadiums, you go in one, you come out the other.
Yeah.
So there's people lined up to go in, people trying to get out. Yeah. They were big and you know, nice, but it was very crowded.
Okay.
Now, that could have just been when I went.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
you know, but yeah, overall, it's new, so it was clean and nice and not much else to say about it. I will say one thing. On Friday night, I watched the San Diego State Aztecs play the Las Vegas Running Rebels.
Right, yeah, at Allegiant Stadium. Oh, yeah, where the Raiders play.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a cool stadium.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Well,
you weren't
cool.
there, but you were looking at it. Sure, it does look good.
Our friend Melanie was there, right?
That's right. She called
was
in.
Going to go. Yeah. So we're curious to hear her thoughts. But during the game at some point when there was a timeout or something, they showed how the Aztecs were playing on artificial turf. Mm-hmm. But the Raiders play on grass.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And I noticed today, Sunday here, the Raiders it was on grass.
How do they do that?
You could ever see. Well, the whole field kind of goes out of the stadium. One end, if you notice one of the end zones on the end, there's like some temporary seats. And behind them, there's like gates or something that open. And the whole thing slides out. So the grass goes out into the sun and gets watered all week and everything. And if they want, there's another thing that goes in that they have artificial turf on. And then so they can either have grass or artificial, whatever they prefer.
That's cool.
That is very cool.
And then the Raiders always have a pristine field, right? It's not like, hey, the night before the college game played and the field's all torn up.
Well, and I'm sure when they have other events, right? They don't have to kill the grass or anything. They just roll out the artificial turf and have an event or whatever. Yeah, and it's like 4 feet. They showed it. It's like 4 feet thick.
Yeah.
So there's like dirt and sod on the top, and the whole thing slides in. And when you're watching the game, it looks completely flat. Yeah. But it moves. They showed it moving. I was like, wow, that's something.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get that here.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a team here. How about that first?
We'll be lucky if they get grass. Okay.
All right. Well, let's move on to things that are really more gambling related. I mean, football, you can bet on that, but let's talk more about gambling. We got an email from listener Zach. He said, when you guys use your free play on video poker, do you play at your normal denomination or play at a higher denomination? And it's kind of an interesting question, but really, I mean, the only time you and I play video poker for the most part is when we are using our free play.
Well, if I have a lot saved up and I've got to go through a lot and time is of the essence, then I play a higher dollar amount.
Yeah, like when we're in Vegas, you usually have some big amount of free play. And you usually go to the high limit and play like a $5 machine, right? $25 a hand.
$25
Yeah, that's true. So I guess the answer would be...
sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Most of the time we're playing dollar.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I play. Yeah. And the only other time I really play video poker is maybe to kill some time, or like this last time when I was in Vegas, I just had some time to kill. I thought, well, I don't really want to buy at the craps table. I only have like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'd sit down and play some video poker. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think I just played 25 cents.
Right.
So maybe the answer is yes. I do. We do play a little bit higher maybe when we use the free play.
When we use our free play. Yeah, we want to get through it quick.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we're either going to the craps table or it's 3 a.m. and we're trying to
get home. Yeah, like last night. Yeah, true.
The time I remember distinctly playing video poker when it wasn't free play was when we were waiting in line for one of the Vegas Internet Mafia's shows.
Oh, so upstairs at the D.
Upstairs
yes,
at the D.
Yes.
Remember?
Uh-huh.
And we had to wait in line and we were...
Yeah, like one of us would hold the place in line and then the other would go play some video. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That we just can't stand in one place.
Right.
Especially if it's a casino and we're not gambling. Yeah.
Well, it's like 6 feet away. There's a video poker machine.
Yeah, we got to do
that
something.
Was the one time I remember playing when it wasn't free play. It was actually our own money.
We had to do it, yeah. I need some action. Yeah. I can't just stand here.
I think we were playing with Gina.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Yep. And didn't you misplay your hand? You
I did something.
Discarded
Gina,
2 pairs.
Gina
something.
yelled at me.
Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first. You can bet on that.com and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's move on to voicemails. First up is Brian.
Hi, Mark, Dr. Mike. This is Brian Dancer calling from Pensacola, Florida, and I am an avid listener of the show. I go through the back episodes when I just can't get enough, and I'm currently on my 3rd or 4th run through. I'm on episode 116, and Mark, you and Dr. Mike talked about possibly renting a car and hitting all the casinos in Vegas that you had not gone to before. You mentioned at that time, Aliante, you hadn't been to Red Rock. And I'm just curious, have you guys followed up on that? Because at the moment, Dr. Mike was like, yeah, we should really do that. But I'm guessing you probably haven't. Because wherever you're staying, Caesars or Harrah's or wherever, the craps table right there. So that's my guess, but I thought I'd ask because I was curious. Anyway, guys, take care. Thanks for the show.
Good take, Brian.
Yeah, exactly. Especially these days. What are we getting in a car for? We did actually do this back in, I looked it up, it was May 1999.
Okay.
We did it one time. You remember this? We were staying at Luxor. We rented a car. We said, let's just drive to as many casinos in the Las Vegas area that we've never been to before.
Right.
And doggone it, I keep notes on so many things. I wish I had written down all the places we went, and I didn't.
We went to quite a few, but I've been to some others that you haven't. Like I've been to Red Rock.
Well, and so since we haven't done it since then, anything that's been built since then, like Aliante, there's a good chance we haven't been.
Right.
So, maybe we need to do it again. We would really have to plan a trip where...
we were there for like 3 days or something.
Yeah, and we just give up an entire day. It's so much harder now to think about doing it. Well, first of all, when I think back on it, it was kind of like, okay, we did this... I don't know if I want to do it again. Because it was, we'd go to the casino, we'd play a little craps... And then, okay, we got to go to the next one.
Yeah, and some of the places weren't that exciting.
No, we just go, okay, we were here. We can check it off our list, but, nothing really special. But again, these days we've got the podcast, and when we go, it's usually for some kind of event. I think it's, if we do it, maybe, when we're extremely elderly and... can't drive. We have somebody else.
Extremely elderly?
Yeah, extremely elderly.
You mean like
Mike.
last week?
That's what I was trying to emphasize. Have somebody drive us around. But yeah, no plans right now anyway.
Well, your one son's over 21, and the other one's getting there. My older daughter.
My younger one turned 18, so he can go out here to Verona there at 18 years.
A few years, we'll get one of those young kids when they're 21 to drive us around Vegas.
No, I'm sure they'd love that.
Yeah. What stinks in the back?
Dad. All right, next up is David.
Hey guys, this is David from Central California. Hi, Dr. Mike. Hi, Mark. Hope you guys are doing well. I've been listening to the podcast forever. Just thought I'd finally call in, give a couple quick trip reports. And one thing that caught my attention on the last episode, the flip it on the 10. Pretty sure what that is the other side of the bi-lammer is a lay. So I think you buy the 10 to start with, it hits, you do a full press to a lay on the 10, and that's flipping it. Anyways, went to Vegas about a month ago, stayed at Planet Hollywood. It was a blast, spent a lot of time downtown. Lost a lot of money on slots, did all right on the tables though. Very last place I went was Circa, wanted to check that out. Hopped on the table just on a whim before I went to the airport. The first shooter was this kid, never played before. He rolled 43 minutes. I only know because I was checking my watch because of the airport. Hit the small a second time. I walked up with 400 and I cashed out with 3,200 or something. It was great. Dealers made a lot of money, a lot of fun. I went to Main Street Station because I was excited they were open again, and I had never been there, but the tables weren't open. They just took you across to the California. Then last week for Halloween, I did a cruise on Virgin Voyages Scarlett Lady. It was a lot of fun. The casino was mostly empty, but they did have the craps table open every night, $5 minimum, 3, 4, 5 odds. It was great. The dealers were fantastic. I was the second shooter, and I said, I'll pass the dice. And the guy next to me said, no, go ahead. And I'm not usually much for shooting, but went ahead, hit the tall a second time. So that was really pleasant, put me up for the night. The next day, just blessed. Every game I touched, couldn't go wrong. The shuffle machine was broken at 3-card poker. I sat down at the table, and they were hand dealing, and the other player said, it's been really cold. You might want to be careful. And boom, first hand, straight flush. So that was nice, like $600 on the pair plus bonus. Roulette was great. Blackjack, couldn't go wrong. I actually played a bunch of hands of blackjack just as a tip, and that was really fun. Kept just pressing it up, and the dealers ended up getting a couple $100 on a tip for that. The next couple nights were terrible. Super cold, lost all my money back, but still had a really great time. We stopped in Bimini, Bahamas, and the casino was closed all day on the ship, so I went to check out Resorts World Bimini. Pretty disappointing. The casino didn't open till noon, went back at noon, and one blackjack table open. I asked about the craps table. They said they only open it up on weekends, and this was like a Wednesday. So didn't end up playing in Bahamas at all, but played later that night on the ship. My favorite thing of the whole trip was, I like to get souvenir dice all the time. So I asked, and they said, we don't do that. And I said, it's for me, so maybe we can. We hemmed and hawed for a while, and they said there was no way possible. And then the last night of the cruise, I'm playing craps, and I see them all piddling around at the little booth back there in the pit or whatever, and they're all messing around. And finally, I figure it out. They have some tools from the watch shop down the promenade deck a little bit, and they're trying to figure out how to put holes in the dice. It was a crack up, man. But they got the holes like 3/4 of the way through one and about halfway through the other with the holes, and then they gave up on them and gave me the dice. So it was pretty fun, push the house around a little bit. Anyways, hope you all have a great one. Looking forward to the next episode. Thanks.
There you go, pushing the house for a souvenir.
For a souvenir. And they had to make them.
That's right. Yeah, they didn't have a machine already that just stamps it with that big circle on it or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, David's explanation of the flip it. So we had talked on this previous episode about how we really hadn't heard that term before, where on a 4 or a 10 you say flip it, and they kind of put more money out there and flip it over. His explanation is actually not a bad one.
Yeah,
I would say though that even though there are casinos that have lammers with a buy on one side and lay on the other, most casinos have dedicated buy lammers and dedicated lay lammers, right? And so, it doesn't have
just
it on
so
the
it
other
doesn't
side.
get confused.
Right, yeah,
Guy
just flipped
forgets
over.
to switch it, and it's like, oh, no, you bought it.
Yeah. And on Twitter, a listener, Chuck, actually agreed with us. He says, I picked up Flip It playing craps in Mid-Atlantic casinos. Your explanation was right on. Flipping a $35 4 or 10 win to 100, like we talked about on the last show. Right. So, even though we hadn't heard the term, at least we got some confirmation from Chuck. So, that sounds...
And I've actually seen that a lot. I've never seen anybody flip it over from a buy bet to a lay bet.
No, I haven't either.
I've never actually... I'm sure people do.
Oh, I'm sure too, right? The 10's hit. Now it's time to bet against it, right?
Yeah. What kind of idiot could roll 2 10s?
Exactly. No, you've already rolled 1 10, Mike. You have to... All right. Next call.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Nick from Virginia. I was calling in with a quick trip report. I headed up to the Horseshoe Casino in Baltimore today. I normally go to the MGM National Harbor because it's a little bit closer, but I was there on the recent Friday, and the tables were $50 minimum at 10 in the morning, and that was too rich for my blood. So I decided to check out one of the further casinos. So I went this morning. It was $15 minimum at the craps table. They have one table open. They also have some of the stadium craps tables, but I had a good session, and I made up about 50% of my bankroll, which is pretty good. They were training a lot of dealers today, so the game went extremely slow. I was probably on the table for about an hour, and I think we went through 2 shooters and maybe about 20 rolls. So it wasn't very fast, but it was a good time. The dealers were friendly, even if they weren't that great. So I think I'll be going back there. National Harbor is getting a little bit too rich for my blood. Maybe once the limits go back down, I'll head back out there. But yeah, I just wanted to say that, Horseshoe Baltimore is a little bit further away from Northern Virginia, but I think it's well worth the drive. And the casino is very nice. They have a huge outdoor terrace as well. So thank you. Love the show. And have a good day. Bye.
Yeah, thanks. A good suggestion for because MGM National Harbor, when it first opened, people were talking about how high the limits were.
Right.
And now it's even worse with the
I wonder why that is.
Well, why it's the higher limits?
I mean, there's not as much around there, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's whatever the market can
bear.
Yeah. So
why not cater to everybody?
Well,
at least have one $15 table.
I understand what you're saying, but
then
a
25, and then the rest could be 50.
I understand. Here, you talk about business; it's all business, right? They're going to make more money having those higher because they're filling them up.
If they can fill them up, And like most gamblers, it's like, well, God, it's the only table I really want to play, and then you talk yourself into it. Yeah. We wouldn't hop in the car and say, well, let's just drive to Horseshoe
Baltimore,
you're there,
right? You're there, especially if we're traveling, across the country. But yeah, for people who live in the area, Horseshoe Baltimore, a good alternative. Yeah. All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Schmuckbox calling you from South Carolina. I think I may be your first South Carolina caller, but I'm not sure. A friend of mine back in February referred me to your podcast. His name was David, of course. I started listening, got hooked, and decided to start from the beginning. And so that's what I've done with all my free podcast time between February and now. And I finally got caught up. So now I'm making my first call, and I have some questions and comments. First one is the California Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. They have a Golden Arm Award. Is that something that you have ever won, or is that something you've tried to win? The next comment I have is on the last episode, you had talked about having clickers for getting the attention of the drink server, and you were curious about where you could get them. My recommendation is either Amazon.com or PetSmart. If you look under dog training, you've got these little clicker things. That's what you use for positive reinforcement. Should work fine for that. Another thing I wanted to talk about was I really appreciate those little stingers you stick at the end of the episodes, Mark. This latest one sounds to be like Captain Holt or Andre Braugher from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't know if that wins me any sort of prize. I know that way back in the day, Marvel comic books used to offer a no prize. I'm guessing that's what I get, right? Anyway, you guys keep it up. I'll keep listening, and have a good day. Bye.
No prize for you. That is indeed Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. When it's the easier ones, that's obviously a contemporary show. So I knew that people would get it, pretty quickly. But Captain Holt, to me, is one of the greatest characters in American sitcom history. He's just hilarious. And
He
this
is funny.
whole thing, he's going through an online dating site, right? And he's horrified that somebody says that they were born in San Diego, right? They'd actually admit that on a dating site. He Yikes.
Wait, I was born in San Diego.
Exactly. So those liquor clickers, we got a lot of responses from people, and more than one were saying, they use them for dog training. In fact, my sister even texted us about it, too.
Well, and like 4 days after the podcast comes out, my wife listens to it, and she's like, well, you have one.
What?
And I'm like, I do? And she's like, yeah, don't you remember? We used it, not our two present dogs, but the dog before that. And she just went over to a drawer. Here it is. So I have it sitting at home. I keep forgetting to bring it.
Well, those dog ones are probably nicer than the ones we were used to. You know, when we were growing up, these were just these cheap little things.
Yeah, no, this is a nice thing.
I did look online. You still, I don't think you could find the kids ones just going to a store. But of course you can go online and buy them in bulk, and there's just these, you know, crummy. Yeah, well, okay, you've got one. Bring it to the casino next time.
I know, I keep forgetting.
Even last night we had, issues like, hey, we haven't seen the server in a while.
Yeah,
all right.
I'll just start clicking. I won't tell them what it's for. Just clicking it. What's that?
See who comes over.
I'm preparing for New Year's.
No, I didn't want you. Yeah, so the Golden Arm Award at the California, there's a big wall. It's, that bridge, that covered bridge that goes from California over to Main Street Station. They've got people who have won the Golden Arm Award, and you have to have rolled for a certain amount of time or certain numbers or anything. We've never try to, well, first of all, how do you try to win something like that? Well, then you play there.
Well, Mark, I don't know why you're saying that, because it's obvious when somebody's not trying hard enough.
Well, it's true. I saw it last night on the table.
He wasn't trying hard enough.
He just wasn't trying. But, we just don't play at California very much because they have double odds, only double odds. Right. So, the chances of us getting up there.
That's always been our big turnoff for that place.
Yeah. So don't look for us on the wall anytime soon.
I kind of had a golden arm the other day.
What? How?
Well, I told you, that whole bathroom thing.
All right. Next call.
Hello, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Landry from Orlando. I have a sort of trivia question for you. I'm not a novice craps player, nor am I an expert. And I was at the thrift store the other day and figured for 99 cents I'll pick up a Winning Craps for the Serious Player book. And in there, it talked about the on-off button. Now, I always thought that was called the puck, P-U-C-K, or the button. Now, inside this book, they call it the buck, B-U-C-K. First, I thought there was a misprint because there were a couple of grammatical errors and spelling errors within the book. But they made reference to it about 5 or 6 times, and every time they called it the buck, B-U-C-K. So is it one of those items where it originally was called the buck, and over time, since the mispronunciation or misunderstanding of what they were saying, it was translated into the puck, P-U-C-K? Either way, I was curious if the book is wrong or if there was something in the translation. Over time, it converted to be the puck, P-U-C-K, or is it truly the buck? I'm wondering if you can go ahead and give confirmation of exact what the proper terminology is for that. Curious to know. Thanks.
Let me handle this, Mark.
You got it.
Mark had a period where he went to bookstores and found this book and actually crossed out the title and wrote, "You're playing a negative EV game."
Okay, that's your first issue.
Yeah,
is that it shouldn't have been called Winning Craps for the serious player.
Yeah, for the serious player. You're playing a negative EV game.
You're remembering when I used to go to bookstores and do that.
Yeah, with a marker until the police intervened. So that's one thing about the book.
Yeah, dark time.
I've never heard it called
No,
buck.
it's not called buck.
It's either a puck or button.
Yeah, that's all it is. The book is wrong, whether it's a typo or, somebody went through and changed it because they didn't think puck was a word. Or
Puck's a funny word.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that is
puck.
Funny. Yeah.
Let's just say it 10 times.
No.
What's interesting is, so in books, they very rarely have typos.
What?
Because, they're proofread and, or a second edition comes out where they fix it if there was one. But in online news stories, typos are a given.
Why are you even... You're just saying something so obvious. First of all, of course there's going to be more errors online.
Right.
Because they're going up quickly.
Yeah.
And,
I know, but
typos are rare in books. I don't even know if I agree with that. I understand your point.
Yeah.
But it's just common knowledge.
Then why would they put Buck in there? Why, how can that be a typo?
I don't know how that happened.
It's not a typo. It's the guy actually thinks it was called Buck. The guy who wrote the book. But he thinks he has a winning strategy for a serious craps player.
Okay, so he's delusional.
Yeah.
All right. Another good conversation, Dr. Mike. All right, let's hear from our good friend, Mississippi Rob.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Mississippi Rob calling in with a trip report from Biloxi. Just this past week, had a one-night stay meeting up with a buddy of mine. Started out the night going to Scarlett Pearl, which is one of the newer resorts just on the north side of the bay there in Biloxi. Had some pre-play. Didn't have any luck, but did get a couple good drinks in, so that was a good little start. Then I swung by Boomtown, which is not really a resort. It's just a locals joint, no hotel or anything, low-limit place. But I had about $40, $50 in free play and ended up turning in about $40 cash, so that was a good run there on some video poker. I played there the last couple times I've been, and they offer some pretty good comps considering they don't have a hotel or anything like that, so liked it there. Then moved over to the Palace Casino. I've been playing there for over a decade, but this was actually the first time I stayed there. The last time that I visited Biloxi, ended up playing on the Roll to Win craps machine. And since I'm primarily a table games player, never really got any good offers before. But after playing on that Roll to Win craps the last time, I actually started to get some good comps. So somehow tracking in the digital system there made a difference to where they started to send me some better offers. So once we got together, we ended up putting our money together just to kind of try that for the first time. We've never really done that, at least us as a whole, and putting our whole bankroll together for, a whole night's trip. We started out at Roll to Win craps. It was $5 minimum, 3 times odds. So we ended up playing a little bit above minimum so that we could kind of get our odds where we wanted to, but still a pretty good offer there. Ended up placing the 6 and 8 most of the night, and that was mostly our downfall. The points were pretty good. We got up a little bit, then ended up down a couple hundred and moved on to Pai Gow. Found a $10 Pai Gow table, and that was pretty much the highlight of the night. Both of us playing there. Played with another couple from Texas. Just had a great time with them. The husband was banking some, and we kind of poke at him a little bit, trying to take his money from him. Great dealer, great drink service. Even messed a flush one time. And after I set my hand, called the pit boss over and, kind of begged for mercy, and he easily fixed it for me. No big deal whatsoever. So couldn't have asked for better service. We took one more shot at Roll to Win after that. And my buddy had 2 great rolls to get us all the way back to even for the night. And then finished the night off trying a new slot, the Buffalo Diamond that Tim Lawson had suggested to me. And I am not a slot player, but I had a great time losing $100 there. We did hit one bonus, got to see how the free spins work, and it was actually pretty entertaining there for about 30 minutes. I couldn't do it all night, but for a little hit, we enjoyed it. So anyways, great trip to Biloxi. Hopefully this is a little preview for our spring meetup here soon. And anyways, keep doing what y'all are doing. Hope to see y'all soon. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I hope so, Mike.
Yeah, I hope
Spring,
so.
Biloxi.
Yeah.
Put it on your calendar.
Yeah.
Well, that's great that the pit let him change his hand.
Yeah, that's
when
good
he just didn't
service.
see it. Do you remember years ago, Mike, I think it was Caesar's Palace, and our friend Paul was playing Pai Gow poker, and he misplayed his hand. He had 3 pairs.
Right.
And anytime you have 3 pairs in Pai Gow poker, the strategy is you play the highest pair in the 2-card hand.
Right.
And then you still have 2 pair in the 5-card hand. Well, Paul didn't see that he had a 3rd pair. He only saw 2 pair in his hand. And so he ended up not putting the highest pair in the 2-card hand. And it turns out that his mistake changed the outcome of the hand. He would have won if he played it right. Instead, he pushed. And so they called the pit over. And the pit looked, and the pit basically told him, look, if you had fouled your hand, then I would let you reset it. But since you played it, it wasn't a foul. Since you played it this way and it wasn't a foul, we have to let it stand.
Well, they can't read the intent in his mind. Maybe he wanted to hire 2 pair.
Okay. But that's a bad story. This is a good story. I'm glad this happened to Rob.
Hey, Rob, you'll be interested to hear that at Harrah's, Southern California, the other night, a guy had 80 plus rolls on the roll.
I think it was exactly 80, but it was the talk of the craps pit
80 rolls.
80 rolls,
they count the rolls. And we asked a guy that we know who was on it for the end of the roll. He wasn't there the whole roll, but he said it was mostly numbers. It wasn't like a lot of craps or weird things. It was numbers.
Yeah,
so.
He said he came in at about roll 60.
Yeah.
So he still had a 20 roll hand for him, and still not bad. Yeah.
Oh, my. Can you imagine? That's a great roll.
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, it's interesting that Rob said he actually got better comps playing roll to win than regular craps. There, it shows you that voodoo at being rated at a table game. You can't tell.
You just don't know.
Yeah.
Although a machine, is obviously easier to rate.
Well, a machine's going to be exactly correct as long as it's programmed correctly to begin with, right? It's not going to...
As opposed to some guy who's like looking over and just happens to see when you've bet less. Or
right.
You've been betting high all night and you're losing, you bet less. Oh, he's been betting, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of voodoo in that.
Yeah. All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Mike from Charlotte, North Carolina. Me and two of my buddies just had a Vegas trip. It was pretty awesome. Stayed at Planet Hollywood. Standard room, nothing crazy. Went to a tiki bar on Sunday night, and my buddy's drink had a little green monkey on the rim. And he's like, this is going to be my money monkey. This thing's going to bring me luck. So we were joking around. We all made a bet. If somebody won over 10 grand, we were going to get a monkey tattoo. Next day, around noon, I text my buddy. He's like, I'm over by high limit. Head on over. He's just sitting at his slot machine, points at the screen. $34,205 on a Wheel of Fortune. So, needless to say, Tuesday, we all went and got a monkey tattoo, and he took us to Golden Steer for dinner. Pretty awesome. If no one's ever been there, check it out. All in all, great trip. $5 tables, definitely a thing of the past. Only saw one at El Cortez on roulette, and 3 a.m. at Planet Hollywood had $5 3-card poker. But other than that, $10 and higher. Yeah, quite a trip and a monkey tattoo. So keep it up. Hopefully, maybe play craps with you someday if you make it to Cherokee. Talk to you later.
We hope so.
Where did they get the money monkey tattoo on their body? That's what.
He didn't mention that. But good for them. Going through with the promise. Appreciate that.
Well, especially the guys who didn't win the 34,000.
I know. That's what I was thinking. Right? I'd probably get just a real tiny one, maybe on my shoulder, somewhere where nobody
would ever see. What's that? It's a money monkey tattoo.
Oh. All right, next call.
Hey guys, Walter here from Aloha, Oregon, just west of Portland. And I just got back from a trip to Reno, and I like playing craps, but the table limits had just been too high. But thankfully, they have not severely altered the inventory of video poker. So I like playing the NSUD Deuces Wild variety the most. But I stumbled upon a new, I won't call it a system, and I won't call it a strategy. It's really money management, a way to lessen your exposure at the video poker games. So if you're a low roller like me, I like starting with $20 in a quarter video poker machine, playing full coin. And if I can get that to 30, I like raising my quarter to 50 cent level. If I can get that 30 to 60, I like raising it to dollar level and just see what happens. The worst that can happen is you're out to $20. And the best that can happen is you hit 4 deuces. Well, and I hit 4 deuces twice a couple weekends ago. 4 deuces on 50 cents for $500 and 4 deuces for $1,000 on the dollar. But it was still using that same method of money management. Did I lose 20s along the way? Yeah, sure I did. But I lose it a whole lot less fast than I do just plugging away, letting the machine beat me up. So if I lost 20, I would walk away, maybe take a walk around the casino, maybe go get a coffee, come back, and I'd maybe play a different machine, maybe play the same machine. It really doesn't matter because it's all random. Anyway, I just thought that was a way of lessening your exposure and still being able to play at some upper levels when you're a low roller. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the show. Bye.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad Walter, said, hey, this isn't a full...
He put a disclaimer in.
Yeah, right. He's saying, hey, there were plenty of times where I just lost $20. He's not saying, you're going to win, overall doing this. But yeah, it is kind of good money management. And what I really do like is he said, hey, I lose $20 and then I get up and do something else. And we've always said that that's great for clearing your head so that you're less likely to chase losses.
Right.
Right. Just get up, change the scenery, walk around, think about it. And yeah, if you're just talking about $20, good. You're less likely to, just put another 20 in, right? It went so fast. Right. I want to play.
Yeah.
So, again, it takes discipline.
Anything you do that limits your exposure.
Yeah.
And also allows you to play long enough until you do hit something, a good roll or a jackpot is good, right?
Yeah.
It's like in craps. You're waiting for that big roll.
Yeah.
So if you can get through the bad rolls without doing too much damage, you'll have money when the big roll comes to make money.
Yes.
And same with this slot thing. It's kind of the same thing, right? Getting through maybe all these bad rolls until one time you get lucky and you hit the big one.
Right.
So
discipline is the key.
Discipline, yeah. Wish I had some of that.
Yeah. Me too. I wish you had some of that. All right, next up is Todd.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Todd from Raleigh, North Carolina. Been listening to the show for about a year now. This is the first time calling, though. I want to tell you about a fun thing that happened on a recent trip. Being in Raleigh, North Carolina, we don't have any casinos within about 4.5, 5 hours of us, so there are some charter groups that will fly us up to Atlantic City, and me and my buddy and his girlfriend just did an overnight to Atlantic City. Normally we stay at Caesars, but they apparently are remodeling some of the hotel rooms. They asked us if we minded staying at Harrah's this time, so we went ahead and stayed there. We still went down to the boardwalk and checked out Caesars and Bally's and had lunch at a little local spot. I noticed most of the tables were in the 15 to 25 range during the day, but by about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they were all up to 25. However, at Harrah's, there were still $15 tables even through the night. We're mainly roulette players, and roulette didn't treat us so hot. Come Sunday morning, my buddy looks at one of the craps tables and he says, hey, they have that fire bet. About 2 years ago, we had hit 5 of 6 on a fire bet at Bally's. And he's like, you want to play? I said, sure, let's play. And I'm still what I consider a novice. I take some of the advice you guys give. So I was playing just the pass line, 6 and 8. First guy did pretty well. Then I rolled not so well. Then my buddy rolls. My buddy is a terrible craps player. He only bets the field and the hard ways. And he only bet the pass line so that he could roll. He goes ahead, he rolls a 9, hits it, rolls a 10, hits it, then he rolls a 5 and hits it. And this took quite a while, especially on the 9. By this time, I've got not just the 6 and 8 covered, but I've pressed them and I've bought the 5 and 9 as well. So I'm thinking, we're 3 in and he still hasn't hit a 6 or an 8. So he rolls an 8 and he hits that one really quick. So now we've already hit 4 to the fire. By this time, I've got all the numbers covered. I'm betting for the dealer. I'm pressing my 6 and 8. And he throws a 6. So now that's 5 of the 6. And we're getting kind of excited, but I knew it was a 4. And he rolls out a 9, and then he immediately craps out. But all in all, he ran for about 45 minutes. Everyone at the table clapped for him. I think he was the only one that didn't win a whole lot of money. And I turned my $200 into about $2,500. We went to lunch and then caught the flight back home. Keep up the great work. I really enjoy the show, guys. I hope to meet you guys someday, and take care. Bye.
Boy, we have seen that sad situation where the person shooting either is new to the game, doesn't know how to bet or whatever, and ends up hardly winning anything.
Right.
And then the rest of the table's like cheering, woo! They're looking at their rack and, thinking, they made $50.
What did I do wrong?
Or
Well, if you're
they
only
don't know
betting
what to
the
do.
field and the hard ways.
Well, that's good. I can understand that too,
those
right?
6s and 8s.
They're going to kill you.
5s are going to kill you.
Yep. All right, next is our buddy Eamon.
Hey guys, it's Eamon from Anytown, USA. Wanted to give a Philly casino update. So our recreational gambling team decided to try the Philly casinos November 5th weekend. Perhaps strangely, the Harrah's and the Rivers Casino in Philly don't actually have hotels or even a hotel very close. So we decided on a night at Valley Forge and one at Live Philadelphia. As of November 5th, the Valley Forge Casino had no mask policy and it wasn't smoke-free. As the previous caller mentioned, it's small, but it definitely meets expectations if you need to play some cards or throw some dice. I will say that the drink service was really good and the gambling was even better. Check out the photo I sent. We ran into a really hot crap shooter and wiped the table of all green chips. When the shooter finished, we estimate the table lost around 30 to 35K. That's based on the 5 of us in our group, and then what we saw a couple others cash out with. It was enough to make sure it paid for everyone's flights and hotels. So the next night, we went to Live Philadelphia Hotel and Casino. This place is, I believe, pretty new. I think it opened in January or February, I think someone said. And it's a really beautiful facility. Like, you walk in, it's very, very different from Valley Forge. You feel like you're in a Vegas casino. There was a mask mandate, and it's also smoke-free, so very much the opposite of Valley Forge. One interesting thing to note is that it's located right in the sports complex with all the Philly stadiums, so it's a really cool location. The placement, however, meant rooms were over $500 a night. I think that's probably because there was an Eagles home game the next day. But as beautiful as the casino is, it has some issues. First off, the layout is not user-friendly at all. It's sort of like a wheel and spoke style. So there's a bar right at the center of the casino, and then all the table games are like spokes with a lot of slots between each one. The games didn't really seem to be organized in each row either. Like, for example, there's 2 rows that had a single 3-card poker table and not really in a similar position in the row or even next to similar games. So it's kind of like you couldn't remember where the other 3-card poker table was or which other row had blackjack. It just didn't really make sense, like, from a usability standpoint. There were, however, 8 craps tables, but unfortunately 4 of them were open. Our group of 5 asked if they could open another, and the pit boss said he would love to, but, and I quote, "half my staff called out this weekend." So they just have a lot of issues going on. The other letdown was actually the food situation there. We try to just get fast casual because we don't want to spend a lot of time eating. And the burger and taco place, which is Guy Fieri branded, it just took forever. I mean, you want to go up and you want to get your food quick and get back to the table, but no exaggeration, it was over 30 minutes one time when we went up just to get a couple tacos. So they have a lot to work through, I think, execution-wise, but it is a beautiful facility, worth visiting if you're in the area. But overall, a great weekend in Philadelphia for the recreational gambling team.
Okay, so sounds like Live Philadelphia, nice facility, but has some growing pains. Maybe to get
I don't
through,
like it when casinos intermix slot machines with table games.
Oh, you mean like in an area? You kind of like to have them separate?
Yeah, because, you're sitting playing blackjack or, say, Pai-Gow or something, and then all that machine noise is behind you.
Behind you, yeah.
Yeah,
I know what you mean,
I just like to, I don't know, it just seems like they should have their own area.
Yeah. So it sounds like they had a good crap session there. Did you see the picture that Eamon sent? I actually sent it to you this morning, so you might not have seen it.
I don't think I looked at it yet.
But yeah, a great picture where there are no greens in the bank at all.
Oh, nice,
one of those situations.
Nice.
So it's always nice to
it's always good to see the dust.
Yep. Yes, exactly.
As soon as you see the dust, everyone's happy.
See the dust. Oh, that would be a good expression. Crap.
Yeah.
You ever heard that expression? See the dust. Hey, we saw the dust.
Let's see the dust.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, another shirt.
Yep. All right, last call.
Hey, what's up, Mark and Dr. Mike? This is Chris from Los Angeles. Just wanted to start off by saying thank you guys for all you do. It's been a great ride thus far. I'm excited for more. I'm going to have to make a trip down to San Diego to meet you guys at Harrah's, Southern California. Excited to do that at some point. Anyway, I wanted to call with a trip report from Sycuan in San Diego as well. This was the first time here. My girlfriend and I went. Great property. Everyone was super friendly. We ate at a place called the Bull and Bourbon. Great meal. Recommend it. There was actually a $10 craps table there on the weekend. And probably all of Saturday. I think they raised it to 15 Saturday night, but it went back to 10 on Sunday. It had about 3 good sessions between Saturday and Sunday, and walked away down 40. So I'll consider that a win. Also, I thought this was kind of funny. I actually threw off the table the first 3 rolls of my first time shooting there. So I wish there was an actual bet. I could have bet on that. So it's a bouncy table there for anyone wondering, or maybe that's just me, probably just me. Also wanted to comment on the whole M-Life situation. I know you guys are big Caesars guys. I like to do the My Vegas app, which I know you guys have mentioned. For any listeners out there, I highly recommend it, at least something that we do, and it has got so many great perks that we have been able to utilize in the last few years. There's multiple apps that can feed into your loyalty points. So there's My Vegas, My Konami, there's a bingo, there's a blackjack, I think, there's a pop slots. So you could actually kind of utilize all of those and feed into your loyalty points and just kind of let them run in the background to accrue more in one day if that's something that you have time to do or want to do. Anyway, thanks so much for all you guys do and all the knowledge you've imparted along the way. Hope to see you guys soon. Let's go, Lee Harvey, shooter!
All right, some love for M Life there.
Yeah.
Now, M Life is not associated with Sycuan. He didn't really
No.
imply that it was, but I just, to be clear, so it was the same call there.
So I hear a lot of good things about Sycuan.
When's the last time you were at Sycuan, Mike?
Oh, gosh. It's been quite a few years.
Really? Because now I went out with Sherry a few years back, and it is very nice there.
I'd say, the last time I was there before they remodeled and added the new hotel.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen that. But I hear good things from people, and my dad likes it.
They only have one craps table, or at least they did when I was there.
Right.
But it's great to hear that, $10, $15 on the weekend. So that's an option for people who live in our area.
Right.
Because certainly, we go up to Harrah's, and on the weekend, it's, you're lucky if you find a $15 table. It's usually 25 or higher.
Right. And maybe that's why the tables have been quieter.
Yeah. Well, it could be. Yeah, they have
people
been,
may be going to the other ones. I know a lot of them do.
Yeah. That's what we've
There's
been
that
hearing.
one guy, he used to be a real regular at Harrah's in California, and then he told me that, he went to Verona and Sycuan and places like that, even though it was a lot further for him to drive, but it was cheaper tables.
Yeah.
And gosh, I haven't seen him in a long time.
Okay. So, maybe a lot of players are doing that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring PayPal donations. Robin from Anytime Gambling, Justin, Nathan, Brian Dancer that we heard earlier, Brian and Sarah, and Josh. Thank you very much for those recurring donations. We also got a donation from Mark for a trip to Vegas with 120 golfing friends and looking for my first Royal. Thanks from Mark. Well, 120 golfing. I wonder if he's really close friends with all of them, or if it's
maybe it might be some kind of golf club.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Also from Matthew, karma donation after hitting Royal Flush on Ultimate. Thanks for what you do.
Nice.
Oh, good. Congratulations. Yeah. Also a donation from Brett. Guy's trip to Vegas, hoping for good karma. Thank you very much.
Yep.
A donation from our friend Miguel. Keep up the good work. Thanks very much. And a donation from Brandon. Karma donation for a spontaneous trip to Vegas. Dr. Mike, I'm glad you're feeling better. Take care for now.
Thank you,
Doing
Brandon.
okay these days now?
Yeah, getting better. Getting better.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope Brandon has a good trip.
Yeah, I hope so too. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings and our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at youcanbetonthat and on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonthat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review of the show. We love getting your feedback. How you doing, Dr. Mike?
Well, I guess we decided that you for sure are going to Vegas in December.
I am going to go during Zorkfest, and I'm going to be on the Better Life live show. I just texted Tim today to say, okay, I'm definitely going to go. I got it cleared. Right.
I'm still up in the air.
Okay.
I may or may not go.
Yeah.
But I'd like to go.
Yeah,
we'll
of
just
course.
See how that.
Well, I hope you do.
We'll know in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And other than that, football has been up and down for us on our sports betting.
Very much so. The NFL, we were talking with the Pit last night, very hard to figure out this year.
Very hard to figure out. Even today, this morning. I mean, weird things, you know. It's just been a weird year. I don't know why that is. It started off with a group of teams that you thought, okay, these are the premier teams and everyone else is going to be, below 500 or around 500. And now it looks like they're all heading to be 500.
Yeah.
I think in a couple weeks, every team in the NFL will be like 6-6.
Yeah, right.
Or something like that.
It's true. I heard some of the announcers, say, you got to consider the Philadelphia Eagles for a playoff position. And, they won today. So now they're 5-6.
Yeah,
right? And that's the way they're talking. It's like, here they come.
Here they come. They can make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's why they went to that 17-game schedule, Mark.
Oh, is that
nobody
why?
will be 500, right?
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. There you go.
Right.
Okay.
So now you can get into a playoff with, a losing record.
Losing record.
It makes it a lot easier.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our American listeners, and we'll see you on
and to everyone around the world.
Well, okay. Fine. Yeah, I mean, sure. Happy Thanksgiving.
Maybe they're not celebrating Thanksgiving in their country, but happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Hope everyone's healthy, happy, And this starts the best time of the year, really, Mark.
Love it.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, you got college football playoffs, NFL's winding down. You're getting excited for playoffs and Super Bowl. College basketball has started. We're all excited. Hockey and basketball are going on at the same time. There are so much sports.
The holidays coming up. You know, you can spend time with your family if that's a good thing.
Right. And for us here in San Diego, this is a great weather time of the year.
Oh, it is probably the best time for weather around here.
It gets a little cooler, but not cold.
Right.
It just gets a little cooler. So, you know, you might have to wear a light sweater.
A light sweater.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Okay, let's thin this herd. Untucked shirt, no thank you. Born in San Diego, yikes. An adult named Todd? So this is what online dating is like?